I'm gonna share my screen. So, hello everyone. Thank you so much for being here, for joining us today. We are happy to have you all here. We are gonna wait a couple of minutes so everyone else can join. But if you would like to write in the chat, where are you from? And from where are you watching us? We will be really happy to know you a little better. Okay, so welcome to Real Estate IQ. Today we have Adrian with us speaking about Cash Cow, the mobile home way, a really interesting topic. And if you don't mind answering the poll that it's going to appear right now in your screen, so we can know if you're already an IQ exit. Perfect. So your deal is our missions. We are the deal makers and the dream makers. We provide the best real estate solutions committed to help one more person to win. So make your deals come true. Our streamlined solutions are off-market leads, EVA CMA, custom lead mining, and virtual assistants. But if you're looking for more, please try our exclusive membership. These are our social media accounts. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You can scan the QR code that is below the icon, and you can join our newsletter by scanning the QR code as well that appear in your right part of the screen. So you can receive all our in-person events and our weekly webinars. But if you would like a one-on-one consultation to get a free 30 minutes in depth with our real estate IQ experts, you can schedule it now by scanning the QR code or by sending an email to the email address that is appearing on the screen, or you can write it down on the chat and we will contact you as well, whatever you prefer. So this is a little bit about what we do. Great, thank you so much. So we have Adrian with us. I want to give a special thanks to him to share his knowledge with us. And we want to encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity and to make all the questions you want. You can leave them on the Q&A box or in the chat. If you have a specific question about what he's talking about, please send it, and then we will do a 10-minute before we finish, okay? Thank you so much, Adrian. We are seeing your screen perfectly.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me today. Let me move one thing around. All right. So today we are going to be talking about mobile homes, particularly mobile homes with lot rent. We'll get into that in a few minutes. One of my goals today is for you to stop leaving money on the table. When you get a mobile home lead, a lot of people leave the money on the table and don't ever make money with it. Don't ever help the seller out. That is one of the goals today, is to help you stop doing that. This is an interactive. We don't have a lot of time. I have a ton of information. I have a way to get even more at the end. But if you have any questions, Jerry said, put it in the chat. If it's pertaining to that particular slide where we're at, if I get it that time, I'll answer it then. If not, we'll put it towards the end. All right. I want to quickly start. This might be something you want to do a little bit longer or later, but think of 3 things. Write them down right now. 3 things you are going to do when you're financially free. You have enough mobile homes, it pays for your life. You don't have to buy any more. You'll probably continue because you enjoyed the business. But write down any 3 things. I'm not going to ask you to share them. Any 3 things you are going to do when money is not the challenge anymore. You're financially free. You control your time. Now, if we had a bunch of time, I'd question everyone and say, all right, well, they fit in this category. And what I have found from speaking around the country, everyone's 3 things, they fit basically in 3 buckets. We all want to help more people, spend more time with our loved ones, and travel more. The different people we want to help, different loved ones we want to be around, and different places we want to travel. But most of us want about the same things. Now, mobile homes are how I got there, and I got there even faster. So I'm not going to lie to you and say that it's an easy straight path there. It's a little bit uphill. There's some challenges in any business. So when you have those 3 things written down, go back to them if you ever get to a hard time. Go back to them and remember why you were doing this. So let them pull you there. And again, mobile homes are how I got there really fast. So quickly, a little bit about me. I'm from Plant City, Florida, a little town in between Tampa and Orlando. We're the winter strawberry capital of the world. You can see my family there, my big brother, my dad, my mom, my little brother's the one being held, and then I'm the one standing there on the side. We grew up middle-class family. We went on vacations, didn't have, everything. We weren't spoiled or anything. And eventually I did move out. I stayed semi-local, and I was about 19, moved out, and we were really bad tenants, my friends and I. Here are a few of the eviction notices that we received. After getting evicted multiple times, most of these were for parties. We had some pudding wrestling parties, mud wrestling parties, and even a spaghetti wrestling party. And the last one was for parking a motorcycle in the living room. So you don't want to rent to 20-year-old Adrian and his friends, but I'm a problem solver at heart. But what do? I went and bought a house. I bought a house so that we couldn't get evicted anymore. And that then also taught me that we were not great tenants. So I learned the hard way that we were not the best tenants. But I bought this house, and I divided my mortgage up amongst my friends so that they were paying my mortgage. I lived for free at 20 years old, and I wasn't at home with mom and dad, which is really, really cool. So what I said, all right, I'm going to buy another house. Went and bought another house. The banks are all I knew at that time. Bought the house, and they said, you know what? You're going to lose a little bit every month, but don't worry. Real estate goes straight up. You'll refinance in a few years. A few years, couldn't refinance. The market was going down. And I had one of those adjustable rate mortgages, so my payment was actually going up. Eventually, I gave up the house. I gave it up as a short sale. This was a compromise to my integrity, my credit, of course, and I just didn't do what I said, what I was going to do. I mean, compromising your integrity, you said it was going to pay it all and didn't. So I never wanted this to happen again. But luckily, I didn't lose this house. This house right here, because I bought it right and I was renting it right. So you got to buy it right and rent it right. And that back of the head ding to my ego and the integrity, credit, all of that stayed with me because I bought a few more houses. But eventually I was just like, I don't want that to happen again. Numbers started seeming too tight and small. And admittedly, I've been wrong on the direction of the market for a long time, but that's how I got into mobile homes. I was searching for something new, something that cash flowed more, something that had a bigger spread and was safer for my business, so I wouldn't be taking the chance of not being able to pay my bills again. This is my first mobile home. Now, this one was a home and land together. So I bought it, 0.09 acres. It was a 1965, 3-bedroom, 1-bath. And I bought it for about $16,000. And then I made some mistakes. There wasn't any like formal education out there for it, but I was solving the problem. I like, you know what, it's going to make money. So I had about $20,000 in this property, and I rented it for $475 a month, which you don't need your calculator to realize that's really good return. So what do I do next? I started buying more mobile homes. And we're going to talk about some of the ones that I bought in the park where it has a lot rent. They were really important for my growth. And by the way, this one here, we've only had one turnover, did a little bit of work, and I believe right now we're getting $720 a month. So really good return. If you didn't think it was good before, it is fantastic now. Today's business is I buy and rent mobile homes. That is today's business. That affords me the life to teach now. I travel around the country teaching. I run a high-level real estate mastermind. I wrote a book about the topic to get even more information out there even faster. And I couldn't have done any of that, though, without the mobile homes to pay for my life. So my lifestyle, if I don't teach it anymore, I don't have a mastermind anymore, my mobile homes pay for my life. And it keeps me sharp so that I can continue teaching exactly what's working for me. A little bit about Lifestyle RI. What is it? It is my mission. It's my education company. My mission to bring sunshine, joy, and happiness into your business and your life. It's one of the reasons I have a really bright color. I teach from my success and my failures. I don't want anyone to have to go through a short sale or anything similar to it. I'm hoping to help save you from that and then get the success to control your life. And then lastly, I'm a platform for my friends that run successful real estate businesses to come in. I say, hey, teach for a little bit on your specific topic. One of those people is my friend, Mark Bracey. He's a mobile home fix and flipper. We won't really talk about his stuff too much today because he focuses on the home and land. But what he does would work inside the parks. He just wouldn't on the land. But he likes bigger tracts of land is actually the niche that he's in this today. So right now, in your head, quickly, just take a guess here. Which is the trailer, which is the mobile home, and which is the manufactured home? You can put it in the chat if you're able to type away. I know a lot of times people are driving or eating on lunch or something. So if you want to put in the chat, that's great. If not, just put in your head which one you think here is the trailer, the manufactured home, and the mobile home. So a lot of times I get the answer of the yellow one is the trailer, the mobile home's in the middle, and then the manufactured home is the other one on my right side of the screen, which is, yeah, it's technically closer to the right answer. There we go. Yeah, Jonathan. So you got it there. But my answer is when I'm buying them, I'm going to call them all trailer because trailer sounds cheap and it sounds low valued and it brings the perceived value down. But if I'm selling it or leasing it, I'm going to call it a manufactured home because it sounds strong and it's big and it sounds more expensive. Point here is our words matter. When we're negotiating in our entire life, our words matter. So think it through before you just say stuff so that you're able to help the seller out and you're able to make some money. Let's talk about the 3 main ways to invest in mobile homes. You can have just the mobile home. This is on rented land. We call that rented land. We call it lot rent most of the time. Some areas call it space rent, and some areas call it land rent. Now, this is going to be the main topic we're talking about today, but this is the lowest dollars to get into investing because you're only buying aluminum box. You don't own any land. We'll go over some drawbacks, but I'll tell you one real quick is the landowner, they make all the rules. But these are really high return on your investment. These are recession resistant. And like I mentioned, they're the lowest dollars to get into real estate investing. Now, another way you can invest in mobile homes is you can own the park. There's two main ways to run a mobile home park. You can own all the homes, all the dirt, absolutely everything. You own a flat apartment complex. Or you can own just the dirt and people pay that lot rent we were talking about every single month to park their mobile home there. In that case, you own a big parking lot. Now, mobile home parks are no longer in my vision to buy and run and everything. There's a few reasons personally for me is because there's a lot of competition here. The hedge funds, Wall Street, they got in here years ago. They have a lot cheaper money than I do. Not sure about you, but they have basically free money. So they go in and they're driving the prices up, values up. So the returns are not as good anymore. So it's really competitive as well. I don't like all that competition. They're still making a good return. I know some people making one. There's a lot more competition though. There's a lot more government regulation. So wobbly box farms are really no longer in my vision. But we've got mobile homes with land. That's the third way to do it. You have the home and land. It's a single unit and it's the dirt. You get the control and you get really good return on investment. Maybe not as high as the individual unit within the park, but you get a really good return on your investment. These are less competition as well. That's one reason I like them over the parks. I keep saying great return on investment and recession resistant. Now, we all like a good return on our investment, and we're in business here. So I believe, though, a lot of investors focus only on the return on investment, which is great. We need to do that, but not the longevity of their business for recession resistant. Remember my story, how I lost my second house because I wasn't structured the right way? I didn't have a recession resistant business. Luckily for me, it was only one property. I don't want people to lose multiple properties or their entire business. There's a lot of people the last decade haven't seen a recession. So why are mobile homes a recession resistant? Well, I read somewhere on the internet, so it's got to be true, that a 2-household income has an average of $200 extra a month. So after they pay all their bills and everything, they have $200 extra. So if that Google study was a little off from Dr. Google, and let's just say 200, 300, 100, somewhere in that range. So it's not a ton of money extra. Well, in a recession, we have a 2-household income. A lot of times one of them loses their job. Well, what's going to happen then? They have to move down a rent level. And that continues to happen until the affordable housing space, the workforce housing space. Most mobile homes are in the workforce housing space, the affordable housing space, making them recession resistant. Now, I'm not asking you to sell all your properties and move them all into mobile homes like I did. But I would like you to consider adding some mobile homes to your business so that you have a recession resistant business as well. Now, why mobile homes in parks? Let's talk about that. They're way less money. These are your lowest dollars to get in. I don't care what part of the country you're in, they still cost less dollars to get in. If you're in California, they may have a few more zeros on them than in Florida or in Tennessee, but they're still cheaper than a stick-built, concrete-built home in that same area. They're higher ROI, return on our investment. These are the highest return on our investment asset class I have found. And my mentors, some of them did all different pieces of real estate and finalized in this little niche and said he didn't make a higher return on his investment than any other piece of real estate. And he was in business, I think, about 50 years. So they're really high return on your investment. We'll talk about one today that I got over 100% return. And a lot of mine have been, actually all of mine have been over 50%. And most people get closer to 100%. So really high return on investments. Less competition. There's way less people in the mobile home space. There's a lot of bad stigmas. We'll talk about some of them today and bust some of your myths about them. A lot of people don't get in the mobile home space, which is good for us. That means we have less competition. Also, it's not so good for the seller because, which we'll talk about later, they need help too. So they need us to get in there and help them. And recession resistant. I mentioned that already. I can't mention it enough because of the time right now we're in. If we're not currently in a recession, we probably will be in one soon, or maybe one day we'll find out what a recession is anymore. The government will change their mind and tell us what it is. But recession resistant is extremely important to me right now. So let's look at a few mobile homes. Now, what I'm going to talk about now, I'll say the construction of the mobile homes themselves. This doesn't matter if you're buying them in the park like we're focusing on today. If you're buying the whole park, you still got to know this stuff. And if you're buying the home and land together, the mobile homes don't really change that much. So you can see a few pictures of them here. You can see the beautiful yellow vintage countertops. See, that language, I spoke on it earlier. It's very important. Vintage makes it where I don't have to replace it and I save some money. Now, it was in good condition. So my vintage yellow countertops from the 70s. This is a double wide from the 70s. Looked beautiful. I mean, you can see that counter, the kitchen there. It's in good condition. Not modern, but great condition. And that one, you can see to the left of the refrigerator, you can kind of see there's like a cutout there. That's the hallway. So I walked down the hallway. I'm inspecting the place. The power wasn't on. And I turned down and turned into one of the bedrooms. And I looked down. Like I said, the power wasn't on, so it was a little dark. But I'm looking down and the carpets looked weird. And I looked a little closer and I realized, oh, this is something I've seen in movies. So shag carpet. So shag carpet, for anyone my age or younger, it's this long-haired carpet that they actually had a carpet rake that they would rake up and stand it all up nice and pretty. Shag carpet is not coming back in style, no matter what type of words I try to use. So it's not coming back in style, which means we have original subfloors, because no one's going to pull the carpet up, replace the subfloors, and put the old carpet back down. And I'm walking around and everything feels nice and sturdy. But I know in the 1970s, the original subfloor, it's particle board. If you've never gotten particle board wet, particle board disintegrates, explodes, falls apart. It's essentially glued together sawdust. So particle board floors, if you're in the 1970s, you got to know if it hasn't been replaced, put it in your budget. It's not that hard, not that difficult, not that expensive, but if it's not your budget, it's not fun. Now, I see we have a question about tenants. We'll touch on that a little bit in a few minutes, Alex. Good question, though. And if I don't touch on enough, ask at the very end. So we talked about the 1970s there. We also have the 1980s. Have this gray, it looks like the PEX plumbing of today, the blue and red one of today, but it's from the 80s. It's this gray one. I actually have a trouble even pronouncing the name of it. It's a polyurethane. It's somewhere in that line. How to pronounce it's not important. It's that it fails. Now, it's not the gray plumbing that fails. It's those brass connectors. It fails. Not if, it's when. There's a class action lawsuit on it. They fail. And actually, if you are trying to get insurance, insurance companies don't like this either. So you're going to have problems there. You need to know, if you're looking at 1980s, check underneath the sinks, check underneath the mobile home. If you see this gray plumbing, you need to prepare in your budget to replumb the whole home. So again, not that expensive, not that hard or difficult to replumb a mobile home, but it's not fun if it's not in your budget. These are all little things that second nature from decades of doing this is what I've accumulated. You can see, actually, I have a picture of Jimmy here to remind me that Jimmy learned this, luckily, from me and didn't go make a mistake and buy it. So he was looking at a property and he knew, oh, okay, I need to put that in my budget. And he was able to calculate that in his budget ahead of time. All right, Alex, let's talk about it. You may not be thinking it, but someone on here I know is. They're thinking the only people that live in mobile homes are trailer trash. All little boys and girls are born with a tall boy natty light. That's what a lot of people think, because the Netflix specials, Hollywood and the movies have made it funny to poke fun of trailer trash. I'll tell you, it's not always true. Not all kids in trailers or mobile homes are born with tall boy natty lights. Who lives in most of our homes? It's the blue collar handyman, handywoman. The painter, the electrician, the AC tech, the carpenter, the roofer, road construction crew, spackle and drywall. And they take pride in their home. It's their home. It's not uncommon that we drive by a month or so after they move in and they fix up the place and they made it their home. One of my big goals is to bust this myth, because if we don't upgrade your mindset about it, you can't actually ever go and help people and make some money. So we got to get rid of all these myths out of it. So that myth is busted. It's not all trailer trash. And by the way, we actually have people that moved in a little bit earlier this year, white collar, 75K a year, straight out of college. He wanted a 3-bedroom, 2-bath fenced yard. So it's not all blue collar either. It can be white collar. It can be blue collar. So there is no one little hard stereotype. So you got to stop and put all these stereotypes aside. So how do we find mobile homes? Well, we do marketing. And the easiest way to tell you the difference in marketing for mobile homes versus not mobile homes is change the word house to mobile home. Signs on the side of the road, Google AdWords, postcards, yellow letters. Actually, I was just going through my mail and someone took my advice and they're putting yellow letters now. We didn't used to get a lot of those, and now we're starting to get a few. So postcards, MLS. So with the units in the park specifically, they're not supposed to be on the MLS, but I will tell you, every once in a while, a realtor does it wrong and does put one on there, but you can find them on Zillow. So Zillow does have them with lot rent as well. Now, these all work. You got to be consistent. You got to change your wording to mobile homes. But what works best for me, like my personality, I'm a networker. So it's referrals. You heard earlier, Real Estate IQ, they got events. They got in-person events too. You network when you're at an event. When you're at an event, you tell everyone you buy mobile homes. Most people don't. And I tell you, when I'm at an event in my little tiny buying area, I only buy in Central Florida. So I don't want anyone messaging me, hey, dude, would you want to buy this? Nope. I only buy in Central Florida. When I'm there, I say, I buy mobile homes. I'm like a broken record. And I tell people, and there's always someone that comes up to me like, why would you buy mobile homes? They go down in value. It's all trailer trash, blah, 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 blah. You're right. Send me all your deals. And they do. And I always keep people in the deal, because if I pay you, who are you going to bring the next one to? Me. Realtors. Realtors are great referral sources as well. Realtors want to help people, but they get paid based on the closing price. And mobile homes have 1 or 2 less zeros on them. And realtors actually cannot even represent someone that's selling just the home within a park. So they can't even help that person, although a lot of people think they can. They have to have another license for that. If you let realtors know that you buy mobile homes, add value to their life, they will help refer them to you. Realtors are one of my best referral sources right now. Now, my whole life, I'm basically in yellow. Everywhere I go, I'm having fun, made it my personality, and I am out in yellow having fun. Telling everyone what my shirt says. I buy mobile homes. My wife buys mobile homes. I'm marketing, and this works really well for social media, without actually saying I buy them. It's a little bit nonchalant. I'm on a big rocking horse. I'm out hiking. I'm doing different things, and my shirt tells people. So then they like that item, and then every once in a while they're like, "Do your wife really buy mobile homes?" I'm not exaggerating. I had people for years would see it, even see me at the gym. I go to the YMCA. And then they would finally ask me. I do want to introduce you to a few people on screen here. We got this guy here. I'm moving my mouse over. That's Charlie. That's the motorcycle guy from back in the day whenever we got evicted. And then the top corner here, I'm holding a baby up in a Lion King Simba pose. That is Parker. That's Charlie's son. And Parker's onesie does say, "My parents' friend's wife buys mobile homes." Why? Because it's fun. It's fun marketing for me. It wasn't fun to handwrite it all, but it's fun. This lady right here in the middle, that is Miss West. And when I'm in town, I go to yoga and Pilates multiple days a week at the YMCA, and she's always there. Now, she's my fourth grade school teacher. I was writing my book. I told her, I am writing my book. I'm probably your last student you ever thought would write a book. She didn't say anything. So I did not ask again. I took the hint. But I told her I want her at my book signing. So I'm proud to say that I wrote a book and I could have some of my teachers there. And then we have my brother's wife, my friend's wife. We made a series of these shirts because they're fun. We got to be consistent. I keep saying that. We got to have fun with it. Make it your personality. Introverts, if this makes you a little tense, don't do it. We can talk about all of that a whole nother day of the difference there, but I just do want to make sure introverts feel comfortable here. If this isn't for you, don't do it. If you put me in a black suit here right now, I would be uncomfortable. So everyone has their comfort level. Find something that fits your personality. Now, I'm in Florida, I mentioned, and we can swim a lot of the year, but I got to be consistent and I got to be fun. I've repeated that a few times. I got to fit my personality, but I got to keep marketing. So I found a solution. If you like it or not, you're going to remember me because of this one slide. One picture made me more memorable, which cost me less time and less money. If you can make your marketing memorable, fitting your personality, telling people what you buy, mobile homes, it will cost you less time and money. So let's kind of continue on to the mobile home. So I think most people probably finished staring at my backside. So let's talk about some common mistakes real quick. Common mistakes are lot rent and fees. They stay with the mobile home, not the person that lived in there. Oh, you got to check this with the park itself. If you go and buy the property, the mobile home, and don't ever check, well, are they 2 or 3 months behind in lot rent? Person you gave them the money, they leave, you come in and you inherit the back lot rent or fees. So it stays with the home, not so much the person. Not talking with a park manager. That's to find out about these back lot rent fees and stuff. But also, like, what type of rules change are they? Is the park manager going to be easy to work with? The park manager is a huge topic. We talk about this for hours whenever I teach a full class on this. The park manager is a huge piece. You need to have a conversation. Honestly, I have some students, they couldn't even have a conversation with the park manager. They avoided. That's not someone I want to have some business relationship with, because you are kind of in business with the park manager. They have to approve whoever's going to move in, whoever you're going to sell it to. Handing over the title to your buyer, if you're going to sell it, if you hand that over and they don't ever go and sign it into their name, you don't make sure it gets transferred, you'd still be liable for the home. You don't want to do that. You don't want to be liable if they have a casualty there or something like that. You don't want to be able to come back at you. Over rehabbing. This is a big one. The park manager and the over rehabbing, those are two of the bigger mistakes I see. Or sorry, I should say more common mistakes I see. Now, you need to make sure that you're rehabbing for that park. We mentioned that a lot of mobile homes are in the workforce housing, the affordable housing space. So sometimes they can't afford a full rehab, but we got to make them safe and livable. But they don't always afford to do it profitably to make it beautiful, like you would think a 250,000, a 500,000, $1 million house. So you got to know the differences there. So over rehabbing is something I see a lot of investors make mistakes with. Now, we're running low on time. I want to quickly talk about financing because this is another big myth I get. People think you cannot finance mobile homes. Well, yeah, Bank of America is not going to finance this, but I'm still making payments here. So don't listen to the myths that a 1960s single wide that comes with most of its siding, that it's not financeable. It's a myth. I've never found a mobile home that's not financeable. Obviously, you have to have the right price and everything for it, but there's a myth out there. So I told you, we're busting some myths today. Banks, they are a little picky at times. And I'll give you a quick nugget, and then we got to move on to a case study. 1976, June 15th, 1976. That is an important year when it comes to bank financing for mobile homes. It's an important year in general for mobile homes. It's a year the federal government stepped in and started making quality difference. But banks will not go older than that. And if you are going to go newer than that, I recommend community banks and credit unions. So, all right, let's talk about this case study, though. This case study of Kings Manor, Lot 2. Now, how did I find this? I found it on Facebook, actually, in a group. You know, Facebook has all the groups. The groups are a little bit newer then. Now, you know, you can do a lot in these groups, and they're popular. So I found it in that group. Somebody needed to sell it. The problem solved is she needed cash fast. We hear that a lot in real estate. She wanted to sell, and I say fast, I bought it in about 23 hours after I saw it. So it was really fast. Less than 24 hours. Her problem was she needed it now. How I paid for it? It was cash, like physical cash. I met her, and I don't remember if it was 20s or hundreds. But I went to my bank, got cash out, and it was a real cash deal. Rehabbed it. This one in particular, safe, livable. Actually, it was not even that ugly. I could have put paint to make it beautiful, but I put smoke detectors in it, sprayed for bugs. I do that in every mobile home. And I took it and I put it back on the market. I didn't even turn the power on this one. And what did I do with it, though? I offered it as a rent to own. Again, that's another topic to a little bit bigger to expand on later, but rent to own is one of the ways to do it. So I owner financed it to them. And I was able to sell it at a profit because remember, we're solving problems here as real estate investors. That's what we are really doing. That's a service we're offering. So I solved the problem of she needed to sell really fast, and I'm able to sell really slow, and I get to make a profit between the two of them. Let's look at the numbers. I paid $5,000 for it. She was asking $5,500. I did a tiny bit of negotiating. I made her pay for the transfer of the title itself. So I paid $5,000 in it, no closing costs, repairs. I told you I put some smoke detectors, spray for some bugs. So we got total all in $5,050. I borrowed no money. I had the cash. I could have borrowed, but I had the cash right then. So then out of pocket, my total money is $5,050. And I sold it for $11,000. I sold it for double of the money I had in it. How much did I ask down or get down, I should say? Yeah, $5,500 down. So right here, I had all my money out. I had a little bit of profit. So I'm already in the green from day one. And then I had a payment of $175 a month. $175 a month is a huge return on my investment. Well, actually, look, it's unlimited because we already had all our money out from day one. So they're really high return on our investment. Yeah, some people say $175, that's not a lot of money. But when you're in growth mode, this is a lot of money. It starts compounding because you get more and more, and it builds the momentum, and you get more deals, and you get known in the park because I bought another one in this park because I was already known about it. So one deal leads to another, and it starts compounding that way. And what do we learn from this? that mobile homes rock. They will allow you to be where you want, when you want, with who you want. And I call that lifestyle freedom. Now, a little secret here is I'm not only selling you on the idea of mobile homes, it's really the benefits that the mobile homes provide. It's the freedom to be where you want, when you want, with who you want. Remember those things we talked about at the beginning that you wrote down? Helping more people, traveling more, being more time with loved ones. That's what we're really getting from understanding and investing in mobile home. Now, there are a few risks here. Everything has a risk. Is the park changes its rules. Go deeper at another time. I want to go over some risks so you understand some risks. Park changes their rules. So build the rapport with the park manager. I cannot say that enough. The park manager is super important, which is why another risk is a grumpy park manager. If the grumpy park manager, everything can be perfect. But if they're going to be a problem to deal with, you are not going to have a fun deal, and you most likely won't even be profitable. So got to talk to that park manager before you buy. A total loss to the mobile home. That is a risk. If you're in Florida or Texas, somewhere where a hurricane, all along the Gulf there, where we get lots of hurricanes, if you buy it and the next day a hurricane comes and wipes it off and turns it into a hurricane missile, when you're out west and you have tornadoes, you don't have anything. You lost your product. Now, you have that obligation to pay the lot rent, and you can sell that. I do know people that have sold their lot space without a mobile home after a hurricane. But it is a risk. And that's one reason we need a really good return on our investment so that we can cover that risk. Remember, higher risk, higher reward. It's one reason they're really high returns. And the other one's because people aren't in the space. Government regulation. This is not a huge one, but you do have to understand that if the government cracks down on the park itself, that could trickle down to you as someone that's within the park. It's not the biggest risk, but it is there. So I want to make sure I bring it up. So we've covered a lot today. If you just listen to this and you don't do anything, you don't take action with what you are learning, it's just entertainment. And I say, I'm not an actor, so I don't want this to be entertainment. A few of my favorite quotes when it comes to taking action, if you've heard me speak before on here, you know I love quotes for taking action. But a few of my favorite ones. The price of inaction is far greater than the cost of making a mistake. I have polled many investors that have been in business for decades and decades longer than me. And they have told me over and over and over, by taking action and making little mistakes, it's harder to do worse by doing that, by then just sitting there and doing nothing. So analysis paralysis. What I have found, and I found one of my strengths, is studying lots of successful people and finding the commonalities, kind of like Tony Robbins does. And I found that all successful people take some action and they fail forward. They take a little bit more action, they fail forward. They get up, they ask for help, and they keep doing that over and over and over again. So you got to take that action that gets you further. Sitting there doing nothing doesn't. Where you are a year from now is a reflection on the choices you make today. If you're in a safe place that you're able to close your eyes, I invite you to close your eyes right now. And I want you to imagine it's a year from now. We get off this webinar and you've already bought some mobile homes. So in that time, that year, you've bought some mobile homes. Maybe you've dropped down to part-time work. Maybe you've quit work altogether. Maybe you're just not doing as many big rehabs. Essentially, you have more time on your hands. You get off the mobile home, or this webinar, sorry, and you check your phone. And you have a text from a friend that says, I know it's last minute, but can you have lunch with me tomorrow? I know it's a Thursday, but can you have lunch with me? And you can say yes. Because you control your time. You control your time, so you don't need to plan far ahead. Now, lunch is going to cost you $100 or so, but you can budget that real fast. The ability to plan your time takes action now to be able to control it in the future. I'll tell you, It was worth more than $100 to me to be able to be there with my friend on her birthday. But I know it was worth more than $100 to my friend Morgan because no one else could show up. You can achieve this too, but you got to take the right action to control your future. Open your eyes up. Another quote, your action proves your faith. What Ken Holmes is trying to express here is if you aren't taking action, you're kind of saying you don't believe it's possible for you. And I'm here to say that's not true at all. I'm going to say that your journey, you can take action to prove to almost to yourself. Now, the old saying, if I can do it, so can you. It's very true here. Remember, I said I wrote a book. What you may not know about me is all through school, I was in remedial classes. And while I was writing this book, I found out I'm dyslexic. So if a dyslexic guy can write a book, a dyslexic guy can buy mobile homes, so can you. And I do not say that to poke fun of anyone. I say it to inspire you. I'm not anything special. What I did is I took what was taught to me and I learned a lot of it the hard way, just like I'm teaching you today. And that's what my goal is to teach other people. And I took action on it. But you got to take the action. Now, I told you I had an opportunity to get even more because in 45 minutes an hour, I can't cover everything. So quickly, here's my special offer for the real estate IQ community. I have a course. It's a video course from trailer to treasure. And I'm going to go over the course here is marketing for mobile homes. We're going to go deeper into that than we already talked about today. We're going to talk about how to value them. How do you figure out the price? There's not an MLS, by the way, for the mobile homes. So you can't just log in and say, okay, here's all the pricing for the past. So how to value them, how to buy them, and how to sell them. We're heavy here. Like there's a strategy for buying them, and then there's a strategy for selling them that is different than a lot of the traditional real estate. Taking title, qualifying the park, which has to do with the manager. I'm telling you, we spent a lot of time here because I know this is a big mistake people make here. Insurance, we're going to go through all of this. It's a video course, and we broke it down in all different pieces there. And by the way, I did have recorded this video course live, so I had some students asking a little bit of questions through it, just in the small chance I forgot something in it. Here's one of Rudy. Rudy, this is his business, and he does it in age-restricted parks. He's in Arizona, in the kind of the Phoenix area. And Rudy is the business of in-park deals. So you can make it your full business. It's a small piece of mine, but I'm telling you, it is possible. I know many people have made it their full business, their niche, and they get all the deals. Here's the video course. The simple of it is we're going to teach you to buy it right, rent it right, if that's your choice, or to sell it right. That's the basic steps of it. We're going to break it all down. Of course, it's on my website for $249. And I want you to imagine that if you got just one mobile home, just one deal, like I did here, would it be worth it? I made bigger mistakes than $249. Would it be worth it if you got just one deal at $249, the value? But because with Real Estate IQ, they asked me to give you a special offer, and I'd love to do that for you. The special offer is half off. So don't put that all over the internet, please. It's half off. There's a QR code there. I'll give you the exact link for anyone that doesn't do the QR codes yet. But there is one more piece of this, though. At the end of this course, I give a golden nugget strategy that is for mobile home parks. It's how to use these deals to get a mobile home park itself. Because I have some students that are after mobile home parks. And a lot of the educators out there in the mobile home park world aren't teaching the actual mobile homes and what's happening within them. So then I have a strategy here that I don't see other people using to get the whole park. And Troy, this is a huge compliment for me, because my goal is to be authentic, tell you the good and bads about my business, about me, and everything going on. So when Troy and I were working together, he told me that. So he asked me to share it with other people. Real quick recap here. You get the video course, you get the digital workbook, you get the course slides, you get the a closed community there to ask them like clarifying questions within each video course. And it's for sale on my website. You can see there $249, and here it is half off, so $124.50. And there's the you have to go to that website. If you go to my main website, you're not going to be able to buy it at this price. You have to go to the Real Estate IQ website or scan the QR code. They'll both bring you there. And I think I did good on time to about answer questions. Let's see what I missed here. Liability when people fall through the particle board fall. Yeah, Jonathan, you don't want that. That's a big liability. So you want to make sure you know what to look for there. And do you buy mobile homes with particle board and then refloor them? Yes. And here, I'll give you a quick thing on that. Great question, Jonathan. I see people repair just that little section that is broken. Yeah, sometimes you don't have the budget for everything. When I was starting out, I did not have the budget to just go and replace the entire home. But what we would do, though, is we would always replace that room. So if you have one bad spot in a room, replace the whole room. I have found the hard way that if you replace just one spot, it ends up breaking through the rest of the room, and it's uneven. The floor is going to be unlevel with the OSB or the going blank on the plywood. So some people use plywood, but OSB, it's going to be uneven if you leave the particle board there, which causes a trip hazard, which causes your floor cover maybe to wear out there a little bit faster. So I always recommend replace the whole room, if not the whole home itself. Well, great question. Anyone else have any questions here? Did I miss any? Let's see. Alex, I'll clarify there because I talked about for the trailer trash topic, but is it harder to find and manage tenants, as most people call them? I call them residents that live in our properties because we're housing providers, we're not landlords. Is it harder for that? We have not found it to be true. Actually, we have more demand within this niche because it's the affordable housing space. I think most of the country has a massive affordable housing space already, and we don't even have the recession demand. Now, is it harder to manage them? If you buy a good home in a good area that attracts a good quality resident that's going to live there, and you treat them well, no, we haven't found it all. We have very long-term people in our properties that take very good care of the property itself. We do have a few concrete structured homes, your traditional single family ranch style home. We have a few of those that we rent from the owners and sublet it out. So I just say that because we manage everything the exact same way. If it's a mobile home, if it is a ranch style home, we manage them all the same. So for us, there's no difference. And for the price, you kind of mentioned that there, it depends on the area you're at, but mobile homes will rent for the same amount or maybe just a little bit less. About $100 or so is what a lot of people will go less, but they cost way less. So that is one reason our return on our investment is so much higher, because we pay less and we rent for the same or just a small discount less. So it works really well. Or if we're selling on owner financing. So, and by the way, if you're going to go the owner financing route, the rent to owner route, you do have to comply with the Dodd-Frank, the SAFE Act. Do we have any other questions? Insurance. Great question. I give you the very brief, because remember, insurance is going to be different in every state. If you are in Florida, we're a nightmare right now in insurance, not just mobile homes, but just in general. Do we get insurance? I choose to self-insure some of my properties. Now, I don't have 2 or 3 properties. I have a larger amount, and I'm willing to take that risk. But when I say self-insure, we always get liability coverage. To me, that is the biggest risk. We get liability coverage. We have coverage on the home for some properties we don't. So that is kind of a personal preference there. Within Florida right now, there are some limitations for insuring mobile homes in general. So there are some, and that is literally happening at the moment we're recording this. We don't even have it fully solved in the state of Florida yet. But if that is true, you cannot get insurance, you means you need to get a bigger discount. And still understand all this, because maybe you say, you know what, I can't sleep well at night if I don't have insurance. That's fine. Understand it, the mobile home investing, so that you can take them and wholesale them to someone like me that I sleep well if I have it at the right price. And it is a big risk. In I would not sleep well if I had 1 or 2 properties and did not have insurance. So what I did is I had insurance building up, and then I started kind of dialing back insurance. And that's what has worked for me and a lot of people I know. But we still do insure some properties. You kind of have to play it case by case there. One insurance company that we do like, again, they are pulling out of the state of Florida, but we still like them. They just choosing not to do business anymore around in Florida. It's on my website under resources. There's a link there for the insurance for the NREG, and a lot of people still love them. They just unfortunately don't love Florida for mobile homes right now. Too many hurricanes. They weren't priced right for the hurricanes. And oh, by the way, though, if you have a mobile home in the park and let's say you're fixing flipping it, and an in buyer, someone's going to live in it, that's actually a little bit easier to get insurance. That's what one of the agents I know, he says, like, yeah, I can insure that easier than I can insure it for you. And they said they love age restricted because they understand that there's a community there taking care of the home, not just the homeowner. So he's like, yeah, I can insure those pretty well. Great question, Jonathan. You got another minute or so. If anyone else has another question, maybe I answered them all, or too busy clicking on the QR code.
Come on, guys. We encourage you to take advantage.
And I know
Adrian is giving
a lot of times during the
yeah,
day, people
sorry.
are kind of multitasking and eating lunch, or
Yes, I know.
I even know a
What?
friend, he gets on these at the gym whenever he's in the middle of the day. He
Wow.
on his lunch break, so he's like doing 3 things at once.
Would you like to leave an email address, or would you like them to contact via the webpage?
Yeah, through there. If you really have any other
Perfect.
questions, you can go in there and click on contacts there. So
Perfect. I wrote it on the chat
that's the
so
easiest
people
way,
have
is to
it.
go to my website. If you do have more questions, I'm happy to answer. I don't want you to get a course that's not right for you, and just go to contact and ask me there. So that's the fastest way it comes to me.
Of course. Well, great. If there's no more questions, I want to thank you, Adrian, for everything. It was really a motivational and insightful webinar. So I'm really glad I could hear it. Thank you so much for joining us, for giving your knowledge. And thank you, everyone, for joining us.
You're
Okay.
welcome. Thank you for having me back. I always love
It's a pleasure.
helping out the community.
Of course, it's a pleasure. Well, hope to see you in future webinars, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a great Wednesday. Bye bye.
Bye.